my gosh. barely hooked. Ah. Hey guys and girls, why in the world does Jimmy Houston love a Redman spinnerbait? Well, because you sold a jillion of them. No, that's not it. I love a Redman spinnerbait for a lot of reasons. Today, I'm going to show you and tell you what those reasons are, and we might catch a fish as well. All right, let's get after it. There he is. Well, you saw right there Jimmy's #1 favorite reason why he likes a Redman spinnerbait. We'll go through a bunch of reasons, but this is the most important reason of all right here. What's on the end of this Blaze Series rod? That, sports fan, is the most important reason to use a Redman spinnerbait. Look at that fish. Look at that fish. That is gorgeous. Looky there. Nice 3-pound bass. That's some sweet sugar. Can I tell you? Go back for seconds. My gosh. Oh, that's the #1 reason. We'll cover some more as we catch more. Hope we catch more. Caught one, by golly. Oh, boy. Been a long time since one jumped up there and grabbed it. That sun got out and that wind quit blowing, and they quit biting. They quit biting, but they will still bite. And it's probably gonna be hard to get bites here in the middle of the day. That's a little smaller one there, and the fish will probably deteriorate size-wise. Yeah. As you get in a situation where the wind calms down, the bright sun gets up, and it's been cloudy for 2 or 3 days. So, but anyway, we'll probably still catch a few. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll be getting in the shade. One of the main difference in this bait and the baits that we have nowadays, the R bends and the U bends, is this is a wrap bend spinnerbait. It's wrapped, and what that means is that instead of having an R bend or it's wrapped and you're putting your line through a hole as opposed to an opening in the spinnerbait wire. Now, what that does is it makes this extremely tough. I can catch 100, 150, 200 fish on this bait without it breaking. Really. Well, I'll go through some skirts, and we'll talk about the skirts in a minute, but that's one of the keys to a Redman spinnerbait. If I catch another fish, we'll talk about this short arm. Oh, God, that was gorgeous. Golly, that was pretty. I was talking about the size deteriorating. This big mama jumped out there and grabbed it. I mean, he jumped out there and grabbed it. That fish actually came from deeper water up toward that duck grass, Illinois pondweed. That's a good fish right there. That's a nice one. I mean, he's a big one. That's a little bit too big to boat flip. Oh, so we'll boat flip it anyway. We'll boat flip it anyway. Woo, yeah, look at that. Look at that big mama. Gorgeous, beautiful. Got a barbless hook. I smash all my barbs down. Now, when you get them in a package, they have a barb on them, but the barb's smashed down on that. But you look at that beautiful fish right there. Beautiful, beautiful fish. All right, let's talk about something else. We said we'd talk about this short arm on the spinnerbait. Let's talk about this short arm on this spinnerbait. Most spinnerbait arms come clear back to here, and one of the reasons that they do, if you have a long wire on here, I used to call this a long john when I built one with the long wire. The wire would come back and it would kind of protect the hook so you would get hung up less. When you come up and you hit a log, that spinnerbait rolls over and it'll hang up pretty badly if it does that right there. But if you had this arm being shorter, and then the blade comes right here. What that does is open up an area here for the fish to be able to get to that hook. On the longer arm spinnerbaits, a lot of times the fish, his mouth will hit that blade. That blade is way back here. The mouth will hit that blade and he doesn't clamp his mouth down on it. A lot of times when the fish swirls up on your spinnerbait and misses it and you think, oh, God, he missed it. He missed it on purpose because the top of their lips hit that blade. So for that, he just turned away and didn't bite it. The other thing is that the longer you put this, the more it dampens. The longer you put this front arm right here that your blade's attached to, it dampens the vibration of the bait. So the shorter arm vibrates a little bit more. Try to catch one more, we'll talk about the swivel. Well, about when I said maybe the size won't deteriorate, it deteriorated, but it's another fish. The bite has got really difficult. I got to tell y'all guys and girls, it's got really difficult. The sun is shining straight down. It's the middle of the day, and that's maybe a 14-inch fish, 13-inch for sure, maybe 14-inch fish. But we were talking about the spinnerbait. Thank you, baby, I appreciate you. We had got down to this portion right here, which is the swivel. Now this is what they call a crane swivel. Nearly every spinnerbait that you have on it now have ball bearing swivels. The Redman is built with a crane swivel, and it's built that way on purpose. Now, when I first started building these, back when I was, right after I got out of college, I'm not even sure that we had ball bearing swivels. And if we did, they were expensive. I might have put a crane swivel on here just because it was cheaper. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, they were built with crane swivels. But what I've learned after I got to fishing with them a while, and I started building some and putting ball bearing swivels on them, they don't vibrate near as much. A ball bearing swivel turns so free and so easy that it doesn't create any vibration. It dampens vibration. So it takes more power for this blade turning to turn that crane swivel. It's an inexpensive swivel. And so that's it. While I'm here, we'll talk about the blade here in a minute, but while I'm here, look at the split ring. That's a larger split ring than almost anybody puts between their swivel and their blade. The larger split ring, again, more vibration. This little bait will vibrate more than anybody's bait on the market. Depending on what blade you put on it, if you want to put a bigger blade, it's going to vibrate more, smaller blade, vibrate less. Blade for blade, you put the same blade on anybody else's spinnerbait, it will not vibrate like a Redman spinnerbait will. So these are very key important components, although they don't look like much. See if we can catch another fish, we'll talk about that blade. I was gonna say there ought to be some fish right here. That's a nice one. That's a nice one. Went up there and ate that spinnerbait. Every time I say about the size getting smaller, they get bigger. I need to complain more. Daddy told me not to complain, but complaining might be helping on these fish. That's a big one right there. That's a big one right there. Oh, yeah. Woo! Look at that girl, will you? Look at that girl. Woo. The blade we put on a Redman spinnerbait is a number 4, number 5, I think it's a number 5 round blade. We don't put any willow leaf blades at all on. You can change and put a little willow leaf blade on, that works fine. This blade is designed and cupped perfectly for additional vibration. Oh, additional vibration, and able to hold that bait straight, and you can run it real fast. So you can crank it very fast and it stays straight. Now, if I was still fishing tournaments, this is just a little tip. If I was still fishing tournaments, I would move to the next size up, the next larger size blade up. Now this bait is a 3/8 ounce head. Total bait weighs a 1/2 ounce. So I would move to the next size up fishing tournaments to get more vibration out of it. I'd move one size larger round blade, Colorado blade. But now when you move to that larger blade, as you pull it faster, it has a tendency to want to lay over on its side a little bit. With this size, it doesn't do that. So you have to be a little bit more meticulous, and we sell them with this blade because it runs fast, runs perfect. Anybody, just take it right out of the package, it runs perfectly. Doesn't roll over, doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. But you could put bigger blades on them to increase your vibration, but you need to fish it a little bit more carefully. Blade, very, very important. We'll talk about the hook next. Ooh, God, it was pretty. In the shade, had to get in the shade. In the middle of the day, the fish had just totally turned off. Look at that thing. He is absolutely going berserk. Got over here and got in the shade. I can get the boat out away from the bank. Come here, baby. That's a nice fish. No wonder he's going. Get used to my trolling motor here. He's getting tired, isn't he? I'm just trying to get in the boat. Oh my gosh, look at the size of that guy. Golly. Wow, what a beautiful fish. My gosh. Look at the size of that fish, will you? Holy cow. That Redman in his nose. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Look at the size of that booger. That's a 5-pound plus fish. Easy. Easy over 5 pounds. Where were we, guys and girls? Where were we? We talked about the blade. I think we talked about the blade. Anyway, the blade's a Colorado blade. If we didn't, we'll talk about it again. The Colorado blade gives you more flash. And I talked about the fact that You could put a willow leaf blade on here if you like willow leaf. It's going to give you more flash. Colorado blade gives you more vibration. I said flash, I meant vibration. Move up to a little bit bigger blade, you're going to get more vibration. But the bait will have a tendency to want to roll on you when you pull it fast. So if you move to a bigger Colorado blade, you're going to have to finesse fish it a little bit. We're going to move down and talk about the head. The head's a 3/8 ounce bug eye spinnerbait, perfectly balanced so it runs straight. We talk about the skirt. The skirts are original rubber skirts, living rubber skirts. They got more action. They're 40 tail skirts. They're tapered out on the end, so you got a lot more action than you have on a silicone skirt. We'll catch another fish or two, hopefully. Talk about the hook. The hook is very, very important as well. Now we've covered the entire bait. Yep, there's one. There's one right there. Come here, baby. Come here, baby doll. Got my power pole move. Got my power pole move on spot lock while I caught that fish. That's about the smallest one we caught all day, other than some little tiny 6 or 8 inchers. We caught a couple of those, but that's about the smallest one. That's just a 12-inch bass. Bass and gal, there's a lot of bass and gals that like to have that during the bass and gal years, the 21 years of bass and gal. But that's just a nice fish to grow up and be a big one. Okay, we're down to talking about the hook. The hook is a big deal too. The hook is a big deal too. If you will look at this bait, you will notice that this hook is a lot longer from here where it comes out of the bait than it is down to here. This is an elongated hook, special hook made just for Redman spinnerbaits, and it's longer. So that means that that hook is back behind that blade when it's turning. You see that right there? Fish has got room to come up and get it. It's back here further. You will miss less fish on this hook than you do any other spinnerbait, I promise. More fish will get that because it's a longer hook. So the entire thing, from starting over here with the round bend, the short arm for vibration, the barrel swivel, the round Colorado blade, the living rubber skirt, the bug eye head, the elongated hook, all of those are superior to any other spinnerbait on the market. Plus the fact that, like I said, you can catch a couple hundred fish on that and it's still not going to break. At least 100, and it's not going to break. Let's see if we can catch one more before we quit. Golly, dang. God, you got him, come back and got it. I think that might have been a different one. I missed a big one, about 5 pounds. That's pretty good right there. I think that other one's bigger than this. Might be the same fish, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that other one's bigger than this. All right, when I started talking to you today out here, gonna have a little fun talking to you about the #1 reason why you'll see me throwing a Redman spinnerbait so much. And that was because of what's on the end of it. And of all the reasons, this is the best reason right here. So guys and girls, if you like the spinnerbait at all, you've got to be throwing a Redman spinnerbait. Promise you, it will quickly become your favorite spinnerbait, just like it is mine. By the way, they're less expensive than most other spinnerbaits also. Baby doll, I sure do love you.